welcome back, everybody, to Shimeji Simulation. Yeah, our
Shimeji,
I fucked.
welcome to
Yeah,
our.
I mean that. We are back to Shimeji Simulation. It's Shimeji
Yeah,
Dissertation. We're on Shimeji Dissertation. We're back to Shimeji Simulation. Wow, that is so hard to say repeatedly. Jesus Christ.
Can you say that 3 times, please?
Shimeji Simulation. Shimeji Simulation. Shimeji Simulation. I'm not good at tongue twister. I'm not good at that. Diction is hard.
Welcome back to the your favorite take a miss related podcast, everyone.
We're gonna find out there's another. We're gonna find out there's another podcast doing the same damn thing, which is fine.
So embarrassing.
Like, I wouldn't think it would be embarrassing. It's like fine. Like, isn't it like every idea is already been done before? You just gotta do it in your own way. It's kind of that kind of thing. But like, it'd be funny.
Yeah.
Here we are, like, yeah, we're your favorite, and somebody else is like, actually, no.
Someone's gonna send us an ask and say, you're not my favorite. I'm following like another bunch that are like a lot funnier than you, but you're like a pretty close second.
Okay, if you send us something saying that, we will kill ourselves. So don't.
We will record it.
We're about to do a Bud Dwyer over that.
So, words carry consequences. And that's kind of what this episode is about.
Oh, that was a beautiful segue. Unfortunately, we have to talk about what we read recently first.
Oh, fuck.
I'm so sorry to do that to you.
well, I'll do it again.
Okay.
You
have to do it again.
Yeah, I'll do it again. I'll do it, Coach. I can do it.
Okay. She's got this, everybody.
Why don't you start? Or, no, I'll start.
You can
I'll
start.
ease into this.
Okay. What you been reading, Maria?
I've been taking a little break from... Like I was gonna say, I've been taking a little break from reading porn while at work, but that's a lie, because that's what I was gonna say. I've been reading Edom, It's an Endless World. It's fine. I've talked a little about it on my blog already, but the politics of the manga itself are fine. The story, it's just fine. The action is like incredible. But there's just like a lot of things that are like all over the place, disorganized, and a little lacking. Which kind of makes it hard for me to go like, oh yeah, this is like a story that I would recommend to everyone to read. I will say it's like really refreshing seeing like a lot of diversity of people from like South America, other parts of Asia, and like, I don't know, Australia, Europe in the manga. It's very refreshing to see. Like, I'm not saying every manga should necessarily have it, because it's like very hard to integrate into a story sometimes, but I don't know, that's like a pretty good point it has going for it. Aside from that, it also has like some pretty decent sex scenes. Actually, yeah, it's pretty fun. At least while you're at work. So, I don't know. That's my review. It's got decent sex scenes, pretty good action, a lot of cool concepts. Could have had a better execution of like most of them. But overall, it's like a 6.5 out of 10, 7 out of 10. Pretty enjoyable.
Oh, that's solid.
And it's a solid thing, yeah. It's not what I would say to like about a date, that went well. Like a 7 out of 10 is not like, oh my god, that was so great, the best, we had like so much chemistry. So, I don't know. If it was a girl, I wouldn't be so happy to see her, is what I'm saying.
What about all those 7 out of 10 girls out there?
Another one to add to the misogyny allegations in this podcast.
Oh.
I've also been watching The Sopranos, not reading, which is like, it's always fun to go back to The Sopranos. It's a pretty good show. It deserves its praise. At the end of season 4, I'm not gonna give any spoilers to the people who have seen it. They're gonna be like, "Oh wow, that's a pretty good end of season." To the people who haven't seen it, they're just gonna have to imagine a pretty good season end. Okay, I'm not gonna spoil it to you. You're gonna have to go there.
Okay.
But yeah, that's kind of been what I've been up to. Not a lot in terms of reading.
Well, thank you. Yay. Eden looks
Well, now it's your
interesting.
turn.
I don't know if I'd read it, but it looks interesting. Maybe I'll read it.
Uh,
You know me. I'll get desperate to read anything.
there are girls in there.
There are girls in there, so
Sometimes
you know what?
they
Hey,
even
that's better
interact
than
with other
most.
girls.
That's better than what most people recommend me. There are girls in there.
Yeah, I'm giving you like a not even like a reheated soup. It's just like cold straight from the fridge. Like you can have it if you want.
Yay.
Okay, now it's your turn. What have you been up to, Red Boy?
Oh, okay. The other day, Yuri's Forbidden for Yuri Otaku ended. It was pretty solid. I liked that. I guess I didn't really post. I try to tend to post like, oh, this series has ended, either to like let people know or like, and also give a little bit of my thoughts on it. Like this one was like
Mm-hmm.
solid. I really liked like the elevatedness of it, both with the high level drama and the high level like comedy stuff. And then I also really liked that in the end it went back and grounded itself a little bit in reality of like the reality of being a gay bitch, which is always fun. I like that kind of stuff. So I think it was really well done. The ending was fine. I don't know. I think it was good. Good series overall. What else have I been reading though? Oh, the other day, the new Monday Recover series. Oh shit! That is in Chinese. I can't read Chinese. I'm gonna read the translated title. It's a Beautiful Tale of Flower Stories. It's like an anthology one. There's another chapter update for that. That one has a lot of like ghost shit and stuff. It's fun. What else has been updating for me? Oh, I fell behind on checking out a lot of what I read. There's like a good chunk of what I read is through translation groups. Like I follow actively a lot of translation groups, and I hadn't been following Penny Theater as close as I should. They're one of my favorites. So it's like top three favorite translation groups would be like Penny Theater, Sexy Akaba, and Slug Chicks, who are also the Slug Chicks are unfortunately I think kind of dead now. But those are like my top three translation groups. Anyway, they had another Mishima Yoshiharu series, and it's
Cool.
pretty good so far. It's about this like assistant like college grad kind of like when like they're about to I don't know, she's like an assistant to this professor and the professor keeps giving her weird shit and experimenting on her but it's like it's this artist, they have a very like they're really good at doing like their previous series, the literary Maria Kadama literary corpus, um has a very like the kind of character they do is like very like emotionless almost, but like they're not. They like put up a mask of it a little bit. It's very fun. It's a fun series so far. I'm really enjoying it.
Okay, that
Other
sounds
than
pretty fun.
that, yeah. Other than that, there's that Sherbert Above Sea of Fog series that's so fucking webtoon core, and it's just so it just scratches that itch of like shitty fun webtoon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes you do need that in your life.
Oh,
Every once in a while, you need to like decompress and watch and read like a
yeah.
fun webtoon that's not
Yeah.
like super crazy dramatic or something.
Yeah. And the main character, Sherbert, she's representation for me. She's a weird ass
How
pervert
so?
lesbian
Uh
who,
huh.
it's, you know what? That's representation for me.
Hey, you know what? That's pretty good. I do love a good pervert. I do love a good pervert. I have to say.
Yeah, yeah. Wait, who doesn't love a good pervert? She's very funny with it. Um, there was that other. Well, anyway, yeah. I think. Well, that's a little summary of what I've been reading.
Yeah, you've been up to a lot. I see. Even without
God, I've been
catching
reading
up.
so much shit. Oh my
You know
god, and
what?
False Marigold just fucking updated. Oh god. Okay, sorry, people. I'm gonna be so normal about this. Okay.
Yeah. We have a pretty busy schedule ahead of us. Let's just
Oh,
focus.
yeah,
Well,
yeah. Should we
before we move
address
on,
that? Should we address
okay,
our
before
previous busy schedule?
before we move on, we will address it, and I'll also say that Watamote updates, as of recent, have been crazy good. I don't know if you
Oh
caught up yet.
fuck! I haven't. Okay, okay. I'm opening
I
a tab for
won't.
it.
Let's not read it like right now. Like,
Well,
but
no, but
well, if you're in the audience and you got time, pause, go read Watamote, and then come back here.
yeah,
It won't affect you. It won't affect the comprehension of the conversation at all. But you will have read Watamote, which is
yeah.
always like a plus. Um, what I was gonna say though is like, it seems that they were like being pushed like super hard while they were like in the middle of. Like what happened is they were doing the 10th year anniversary of the series,
Oh,
and it's still like a pretty big series for the magazine itself. Like it's one that draws in a lot of people, and has been going on for like a solid amount of years. So it's like they probably had a lot in their hands, and the quality definitely showed that. um, it's like around chapter like 200 something, like from 200 to like 210, 15. It was just kind of like weird, nothing happening, and
okay.
then it just like came back to normal, and they were like full on with like the actual juice of what makes Watamote good, which is like the strong point of the series is that it's after a while, after the characters start developing, we actually get to know them. You know,
Yeah.
they actually do interact like teenagers who have like no idea how to properly interact like emotionally mature like people,
Yeah.
and they are just like kind of a mess. They all have like the weird pervert shit going on. Like everyone has like their own weird thing.
Uh-huh.
Um, and if they don't, they are still like I don't know. It's fun that it doesn't like stereotype the characters too much. Like it does a little, but at the same time, there's like flexibility for the characters themselves and having like depth to them. So it's like every once in a while, there's like a little surprise on how interactions go and all that that kind of thing,
Hmm.
while still keeping the important traits like in a good state.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's been updating for like it's always been updating for like a while, but like the recent chapters have been like over the top, pretty good. And like I don't know, I I don't even know what I can say about the series that I haven't said it before, but it's just really fun to read through.
It's fun
It's just yeah, it's Watamote. It's real bitches. This is happening to real people. You've met like every one of these bitches.
Yeah.
Like maybe you weren't friends with them, but you have known them.
Mm-mm.
So it's like pretty fun. There's like with like the cast developing more, and I guess the series has always been like super focused on Tomoko. So the shift to like other side characters in this last couple of volumes has been interesting. Um, and it's been really paying off as of late with like every character getting their spotlight and interacting with each other. It's been like pretty fun
Hmm.
without it feeling like overcrowded, which is like something that I usually have like a very high standard in series that have like a cast with a lot of characters. So I will say it's been managed pretty decently. Anyways, that's I wanted to update you on that. I wanted to tell you about
Thank you.
Watamote both to you and to the audience because they need to know.
Me too.
Um, and now to the elephant in the room that has been like breathing heavily into the mic. Um, there's been a little how do you say it? There's been a little issue with the scheduling as of late.
Yeah, we took a little break.
We're yeah, we're pretty
We're
busy
busy girls.
businesswomen, you know? We have a lot. We got
Yeah.
a bunch of projects.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
You can't rush us.
Yeah, we're artists here. Like we're making a product. Like we're making something good. You can't rush quality.
You can't rush perfection.
Exactly.
There you
That's what I'm always saying about my podcast.
go. Yeah. Well, yeah, everybody, we were busy. Maria was doing everything, it felt like.
I've been doing everything.
I don't know, you've got so much
I
shit
w-
going on, it feels like.
I'm like booked like for the whole week. It feels like every day I'm like, oh no, I'm sorry, I already have this thing going on, and I feel like a dipshit because it's like I'm the employed person now, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, I can't that day. I have another thing going on because it's like if you don't organize, you're never doing shit.
Yep, yep. See,
So it's just been.
Maria's got the real life shit going on.
I got the real OL shit. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to meetings and stuff.
She's going to meetings and stuff. She's a real OL.
So I won't get too oversharing with our audience. But yeah,
Yeah.
we've both been a little busy.
Oh yeah, and I was like, I was at Linux Fest I was volunteering there.
Anybody knows about Pop Linux? I know a guy who is. is
I just shilled Pop OS to you. I mean, it is a pretty good distro, especially for people getting new to Linux. But
yeah. Now you can show it to a whole new audience.
Yeah, everybody. Well, no, there's a couple. Well, anyway, yeah. I was volunteering for the last Friday through Sunday. Oh, I guess it's gonna pass. Whatever. We upload this at random ass times. Anyway, one of the weekends previously, I was volunteering and shit. It was a lot of fun, but also I like died socially and every other way. I mean, I was social in person. I was telling I had to like fucking make a proper LinkedIn and shit. It was weird.
Yeah.
God, we really sound like we're in our early 20s because we're like, holy shit, Maria's doing office worker tasks and I have to use LinkedIn.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like we're doing a podcast.
Yeah, everybody, you just have to hear us complain about, being adults or something.
Yeah, we're gonna change the direction. We're still gonna be financed by TK Miss, but we're just gonna talk about our daily lives and shit.
Yeah. TK Miss decided that they're done with Shimeji. They're sick of our shit.
They don't care about it anymore.
They're done. God.
But she liked us hanging out, so she's gonna give us a little walking around money in the meantime.
No, we're still talking about the episode. Anyway,
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why we were busy. We were gone. We were busy.
Yeah.
Who knows what'll
but
happen?
But now we're back.
Yeah, I think I'm back to regular schedule. So.
Yeah, we're back in business.
Yeah.
Okay, you might see a little bit more regular scheduling, but there's no promises here.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie to you. You're a smart person.
Yeah.
The audience.
The audience, you're smart. We might still add a little bit, like, in between episodes. I don't know. Like, I feel like every other week was kind of intense. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It was a little much for us.
Especially for you, who's, like, doing the editing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I did most of the editing, like, in, like, not that long. We have, like, a shitty audio quality anyway. Like, it doesn't need that much editing. Like, I don't know what to tell you. We don't both have like $400 mics or some shit, so we don't need to do that much for editing. I just kind of slap it together. But yeah, no, it was a little much to keep it up every other week. So we'll probably, I don't know. We'll figure out our schedule from here.
Yeah, we'll still figure it out, but
yeah, I mean, you'll see.
We want you to know that we still care about you while we are gone.
We do. We think about you. We go, I wonder about our viewers and listeners. How are they?
Yeah.
How are they? How are you all?
Yeah. Maybe we'll get to that by the end of the episode for a new question of the week.
For our little question. Oh yeah. Anyway, yeah, that was that. I think that's all our ducks in a row. Should we go on to the segment?
Yeah, we should go to the part where we actually talk about the chapters.
Yeah, we do that sometimes. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, what was the Thai question? Like the Thai thing that I did? Um.
The
Yeah,
what?
words have consequence or something. This is what this chapters are about.
Okay. Shit.
Anyways, it's not really because it's not really all about that, but we're gonna pretend that it is, and we're gonna head into the chapters.
Okay.
So
Whoa.
let's do our little summaries.
Yeah.
We actually have decided
Yeah.
prior to the
We
episode, so
decided
we're not gonna
prior.
spend like 10 minutes on this for the first time. And I'm gonna start with chapter 11. It's a, I will say about the chapter before we start, it's that both of them, they're like very good starts of the volume themselves, like the volume itself,
Mm-hmm.
and they're a very good way to get started on the series again because it's like reintroducing things that we were already discussing in the earlier chapters and introducing a couple new things that are gonna be great to discuss uh, for the overall themes of the story.
Yeah.
Um, it's probably I don't know if it's gonna be like the most important arc of the story, but it's one of probably top two favorites.
Yeah.
Um, so our first chapter of this arc is gonna be back at the Holding Club and Mrs. What's her
Mogawa.
name?
Yeah.
Mogawa. This
I
word.
wrote down the names. I got you.
Oh, thank you, my hero. So Mrs. Mogawa, well, they were out there and they were helping Shima's sister. I still don't like her, but it's not what this chapter is about. So Mrs. Mogawa, she's there. They were not showing up, so she's like a little sad, and she's been digging a hole, which is, it's very related. Like immediately relating this absence with the hole. It's like we're already getting started on something, right? The
Mm-hmm.
hole's gotten a lot bigger while they were away.
Yeah.
So it's kind of giving us a little clue to what this whole thing is about.
Mm.
Anyways, so since Mogawa is just kind of not very good at conversation despite being like a licensed teacher, she's handing out her cute little students, a couple like, what are they called? Like the special permits for the unusual articles that the students have. Which actually, it's like bringing attention to the weirdness of the, head objects that they have. It's something that I really love because usually the series is just very nonchalant about like things just happening, right? Like the head objects are just
Oh,
there; they're just
yeah.
part of the story. So they bringing special attention to it is something that I really like about this chapter.
Mm.
Um, and so we actually get to this, and this brings up a little of what the rest of the volume is going to be about, which is like conversation, language. Majime is like nervous because she is good at starting conversations, but she feels like she's always screwing them up. So it's a little like good starter to what we're gonna get into. Anyways, they go around. They're asking people. They're handing people the articles. They're talking to them about it. They're finding out what everyone's on the list, like of these special articles, and if they should or should not be allowed to keep them in the school. Uh, are about. Like everyone's got a little different one. There's a guy with a plant on him. There's a girl with like sunburns that look like geometric, not geographic,
Yeah.
geometrical figures. It's a lot of everything. It's a little fun diversity, and by the end of the chapter, we get Sumida-chan. Sumida. I
Yeah.
don't I don't know where the accent
Sumida.
is. Sumida. So she shows up and she's great. She's not very talkative. She's got her little sketchbook, and the chapter ends in like a little side note of Shishima thinking about like the rest of the students with their own little head things and their particularities. And she actually makes something that's like a nice development from the earlier volume, which is that she says that realizing that everyone has like their own differences and there's many kinds of people made the school a little less scary for her, which is like very interesting because the whole previous volume is like about being scared of the other and about like the fear of connection, that kind of thing. And so actually getting like a little bit of a peek into what the other person lives like, what their feelings are, what their actually makes it less scary for her, which is like it's like a fun develop. It's like a nice development from the early volume to this one.
Yeah.
Immediately after. So I don't know. That's the part that I really like.
Hmm.
So that's chapter 11.
Poof.
Oof.
Um. So, chapter
Mm-hmm.
12. I guess I'll do the little summary and then we can get into it. They're kind of talking about friendship again or whatever, and it kind of delves into like Majime's issues with communication a little bit more. Um, and then they start talking about kind of like languages, like how people have different languages with each other and depends on like who it is. So like Sumida is drawing, like does a weird shape to explain something and only the teacher gets it, and by the end of it Majime is like, could we make a secret language or something? And Shijima's like, I don't really want, like, you know, no. And then they end
Not
up kind of
really.
discussing Tower of Babel and how that's like in the story of Babel, all people's languages get scrambled. And she's like, dang, kind of hope that doesn't happen because I like to be able to communicate with others, even if it's
Yeah,
hard.
I like hanging out.
Yeah. Who doesn't love
That
hanging
happened to me.
out?
I would have been so mad.
if you were if you were building a Tower of Babel, you'd been so mad.
Yeah. I would have had a serious conversation with God.
Yeah,
I'll
you'd
tell you
been
that
like,
much.
okay, well now I'm building this thing to kill this motherfucker.
Yeah. I'm gonna start like fucking, I don't know, Morse code. Uh, but yeah. Okay, we got chapter 11 and 12 kind of summarized. I'm sorry for like going a little too hard on it because I did love these two chapters a lot. It's like a very good start to. It's like a very good thing to start off after a little break.
Yeah.
They have like a lot going on because the characters have like already been established more or less, so it gives Takemi's a lot more leeway into what she's actually discussing beyond just like introducing and showing the dynamics of the characters.
Mm.
And it's more focused on like developing the characters and their relationships, which is nice. It's very good. Um, and it brings like a very good, an important theme of the series, which is like communication with the other, and specifically like, I mean, loneliness is something that was already there, but the whole is like a very powerful symbol in the story. Especially for this arc, but later on, it's like still something that comes up again and again. Um, and I think I'd mainly say this because I was like, when I first read it, I was like very impacted by the arc itself, so it kind of like has a big place in my heart.
Mm.
Um, but I don't know. There's like so much to it. Like, first of all, it's just like Mogawa being established more and more like a really lame teacher who just digs and digs in her little club.
In her little
And she's not
club.
even like a member of the club. She's like the supervisor teacher, but she's like doing like 80% of the work herself. Like,
Mm.
I do admire that dedication in a woman. And then like chapter 11, as I said before, it's like a very good it's like a fun break from the immersive, like not really like magical realism, but the kind of feeling of like all of this weird shit that's happening is just part of this world. So when they actually are like, wait, this is just kind of weird. It's like a fun. It's both like fun and actually helps explore the story and the characters more.
Yeah.
And it's
Pointing out the surrealism.
yeah, and I'm always like a big fan of it. Like whenever it happens. So it's like chapter 11 is a raid walk around. We see like a bunch of different people. Like uh and it's just like especially what's interesting is the focus on Majime for these two chapters and also like a little later
Yeah.
because the first one has been mainly about Shishima and her struggles with like loneliness and being cut off from other people and whatever.
Yeah.
So it's nice getting like a more of a in-depth look into her own struggles with connections that is not just like um Shishima that's just like the lonely girl and Majima's the go-getter tiger kind of girl. She
Yeah.
actually has like some depth to her struggle, you
Mhm.
know?
Mhm. I think that it's very much like the concept of like when you're younger, you're like, like of course a lot of people are gonna be lonely when they're younger in like high school or whatever, and then at some point you're like you kind of get entrenched in your own things, and you're like, I have so many weird oddities. Like she's got an egg on her head, and she like maybe your buddy has some mushrooms on their head. But then like when you start to like grow a little bit, and you start looking at other people, and you're like, wow, everybody's kind of a freak, huh? And then you're just kind of like, yep,
Yeah,
that's how life is. It's very much a.
yeah,
I think it's a really good kind of way to explore that like realization of everybody's kind of the same, but also we all have our own like weird shit. Yeah.
yeah. It's a little cliche, but our difference bring us closer to each other rather than apart.
Yeah.
It's like a nice message you hear every once in a while. But as a teen, it's like it's very hard to visualize it, and it's very hard to like actually internalize it because you're like
Yeah.
as a teen, you're like basically building yourself up. You're like very insecure about like the shit going
Everything.
around you. It happens to everyone.
Yeah.
Um, and it's like very hard time, and so it's like hard to actually like I don't know put in perspective how everyone is also dealing with that as teens because
Mhm.
it's hard to take yourself out of that experience. You know, like
Yeah.
it's when you're a teen, you're a teen. Like it's just like a tunnel vision of being a teen.
Yep.
Like it's hard to be like, oh, you're a teen, and you're like, oh no, I'm not a, I'm a teen, but I'm like, I'm not just like a dumb teen. And I'm like, you're not dumb, but you're a teen,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. There's just like and things
Uh,
inherent to being a teen. You haven't developed like
there are so many things that are going to happen to you in your life, and it takes like forever to actually understand half of what you're going through.
yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. It's something that I also love about Watamote. I think I don't know if I pointed it here or just like mentioned it in conversation in
Mm.
general. But eh, there's media about like being a teen where it's like, oh yeah, you're a lonely teen and everyone sucks and you're like the loneliest bitch in the world because you're, I don't know, ugly or stupid or something. And it's like, there's a lot of appeal to that.
Mm.
So this two pieces of media, I do enjoy partly because it's like it's reaching out to that kind of person, that kind of lonely person who's just not really feeling connected to their peers, who's struggling to understand what's going on around them, how to interact with others, and it's like also telling them like, okay, yeah, it sucks, I won't lie, but it also is happening to like the people you think are like super well adjusted. Like it's like a super classic thing of like teens getting into dumb fights because they don't know how to express their emotions properly.
Yeah.
Um, and you're like, oh no, I'm the loneliest and shittiest person in the world, and like the cool kids in the backyard or whatever, they're also fighting about stupid shit you would be involved in if you were like there.
Yeah.
So it's like good to put it into perspective, and I feel like this chapter does this in like a very efficient way, where it's like they're just going around through most of the school, like people who are like, I don't know, playing. They're playing football. They're like in cook class. They're like hanging out on the playground or whatever. They have not playground. What's
Like
the
the
park,
gym.
garden? I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah, the gym. But essentially, it's just like everyone all over the school are just like very weird. They have like their own weird thing going on, and they actually find a new member of the cast who's also just like having issues with communication. Which I feel Sumida-chan is like a very why is it Sumida-chan? I was just like reading her name. I was like, oh yeah, just add the chan because she's just that cute.
I'm surprised they didn't do Sumida Senpai, because that's how they call her.
Sumida Senpai?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They just call her Senpai.
I'm a bit older than her. Okay, fine. She's Sumida Senpai.
You can
We
call her
are
Chan. It's okay.
in the
She's
no. We're in the perspective of the
the protagonist.
Shimeji
Yeah.
girls. So she's our senpai, right?
she's their senpai.
It's Mogawa it's Mogawa senpai. It's
Or
Sumida
sensei.
senpai.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my god.
You got that all over.
Oh my god.
Oh.
I got a little carried away with that.
I think it'd be.
But I don't know.
I think I think it would be funny since our little like our little versions of us are also staying in the field. It's funny to imagine that like we're just two assholes. Like we're like 20-something-year-olds still, and we're just watching this shit happen in this universe or whatever.
Are we?
We're part of the scenery.
Are we like the? No. We're like the book girl. Who's just like I don't know. She's probably like 20. Like she's the same age as Shishima's sister, right?
Yeah, she is.
She's just like a 20-something, just hanging out in school. Like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, it's that asshole.
Exactly. God.
Yeah. That's actually that helps a lot. That brings us expands the lore of the of the blog itself. Of the podcast, yeah. Okay. So back to the chapters. Chapter 11 was like was very good for that. It's like a very solid chapter in the sense that it introduces like the conflict of like communication and struggles to talk to other people, while at the same time just kind of like also showing you that these people are like are similar, very different to you, but at the same time they also are similar in their own weirdness, right?
Yeah, I like the like range of like answers too. Like one guy is like, oh yeah, it's for photosynthesis, so it's like part of him, and then there's like the twin sister octopus or whatever, and but then you've just got like one of them's like, eggplant's my lucky item, and then the other one's like, I'm just anxious without my teddy bear. Like it's
I love that girl.
It's so good. It's just like it's like sometimes it's like a part of them, sometimes it's just like a weird trait. It's just like the whole gambit of human experience, really, you know?
Yeah.
It's a really good illustration of that, yeah. I like the one that's just like the 4 strips, and she's just got like a shark head thing.
I think out of all of them, the octopus girl is just like my favorite. All of them.
They do the pose. It's good. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I wish I had like a little octopus with me. Like, it's like my twin sister, you know.
Yeah, your little.
We were hanging out.
Yeah.
Like, we just do poses and everything.
Do poses and everything.
Yeah, so it's like I think chapter 12 is like when they actually start talking a little more about like like actually getting to the topic that's gonna happen.
Yeah, a lot of the chapter 12 is kind of the concept of, so like language itself is just kind of like being able to interface with other people. Because, like, internally, like, who knows how everybody else, like, I don't think most people work the same, like, think the same, whatever, like, process things
Mm-hmm.
differently. And so having language is, like, a way to interface with other people is, like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's language, so it's always going to be imperfect, so communicating ideas and stuff like that, and it's always going to have pitfalls, and I think that's kind of what the whole thing is about. It's like little pitfalls of, like,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, like, you don't know what they're talking about, and then you're like, okay, well, I don't feel included. Or, like, sometimes, like, like with the fucking cactus, you get threatened out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's such a funny gag. Um, and then, like,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
yeah, some people develop kind of their own language, like Magawa sensei and Sumida senpai. They're just like they've got their own fucking thing, and you're like, fuck, I don't know how to communicate in that way. You know, I can't read all that stuff that they're putting out.
Yeah.
It's it's just like such a
It.
it feels so easily laid out that I really enjoy it. I really enjoy this chapter for it. I think
Hmm.
that the art as a way to interface is going to be a big thing, and also in the future ones, it's crawling up to some of my favorite chapters, um,
Yeah.
especially with those kinds
It
of
is.
themes.
Hmm. Yeah. So one thing is like the of what you were saying.
Mm.
The art especially is like it kind of starts like snowballing a little more into the way art interfaces with people, which is like as you said something that's like big in the series and like
Yeah.
uh I don't know. The series has a lot to say about art as a whole. Like Sumida-chan is like a character that communicates exclusively through her sketchbook.
Yeah.
Uh, it's not just like written dialogue. It's just like uh, I don't know. It's a difficulty or an unwillingness to express herself through voicing out her. Like it's not like an actual problem with saying things out loud necessarily. It's just she's just not big on talking. So
Mm.
she mainly communicates through art and all. It's just like at the start of volume 12 that she's like right in front of her sketchbook with like a little drawing that she has, or like I guess a big drawing that she has, which is like forms the background instead of the actual background. It's a good way to start off like her character and
Yeah.
introduce her. uh the whole conflict of the chapter is like it's like laid out as you said very simple, but it's like very well executed. It's something that Taken is like it's someone who's very good at just like making a very simple concept and executing it very well,
Hmm.
or rather like introducing more complex ideas into a more simple frame of work.
Yeah. Yeah. I
uh
think yeah,
it's
most
like
good writers are like that. I think, and I think yeah, it's well done.
yeah, like she does it
And
very
yeah.
seamlessly. Like for this chapter for example, it's just like a chapter talking about like difficulty in communication, not just like at expressing thoughts, but just like connecting with other people through dialogue and that kind of thing,
Yeah.
which is like very frustrating. But at the same time, it's like there's a lot going on, despite being like a very simple chapter. Like first of all, we see a development from chapter 10, where now they're friends, but she still has like very unrealistic ideals of what friendship should be like, which is kind of hindering her from getting closer to Shishima in this chapter specifically.
Mm.
Uh, or like she wants to talk and hang out with Shishima, and that's fine, but Shishima is not really feeling up to it, so it's just like making her upset, like making Mashime upset instead of just like I don't know, accepting that Shishima is Shishima and she doesn't have always feel like talking and hanging out, but she still likes
Hmm.
her and they're friends. And also, it feels like it's like a bit of a slap in the face that she engages with the book that Shishima is like the she goes to talk with the other girl,
Mm.
Yoshiko, and then immediately they and Shishima start talking about the book that she's reading,
Yeah.
and she's like, "Oh my god!" And then she goes talk to the cactus, and the cactus threatens her. Not even like It's a fun thing that you said because it's like it's a very solid interpretation of what's happening. That she tries to talk to someone and she feels like and she is threatened because she doesn't really understand cues very well.
Yeah.
And it's also just like can also be interpreted as like her like overthinking and interpreting something that's like uncaring as threatening
Mhm.
her. Like there's a little bit of room for
Oh
interpretation, and
yeah.
then like she's unable to understand. Like Shishima then tries to talk to her right about like her going to the bathroom, and she misunderstands her immediately, and it's like very funny that she wants to have their own language together, but at the same time she has a hard time understanding the cues that Shishima is throwing at her already. So it's like
Yeah.
uh, it's like hard to like it's all about like wanting to develop a close relationship with someone, but at the same time like being frustrated that that relationship isn't there and that kind of hindering the developing
Mm.
of that closeness,
Yeah.
which is like her looking at other people and thinking, oh, everybody can connect better than me, but it's also like this kind of like self-defeating idea is just kind of stopping her from understanding others when they are trying to communicate with her.
Yeah. Yeah, and everything communication takes time. With
Yeah,
each new person,
like
it's gonna take time to get used to them. As it,
yeah, it's also like
yeah.
yeah.
No,
Sorry,
no,
go
no.
on.
Yeah, you're good. Keep going.
Okay. Uh, that part where she gets mad, like not gets mad, but like gets frustrated that uh Sumida Senpai and Mogawa
Mm.
Senpai are communicating to each other through
Oh yeah,
sketchbooks, right? Like it makes sense in the context that Sumida is a senior to them,
yeah,
and Mogawa is like a teacher that's been like helping out the whole digging club for a while, so they both like know each other and have like
yeah. They have a background.
had more time
Yeah,
together. Yeah, they have a background, and she's only met her like what a couple
like
weeks ago, a month. So it's
yeah.
like they obviously don't have the same connection or the same communication that people who have met each other for like a while
Mm.
have. And obviously, it's like very frustrating when you're trying to get close to someone and seeing that they're already close to like someone else,
Yeah.
But it's part of the learning curve, I guess,
Yeah.
of interactions. And I was actually gonna point out when I'm like going through the chapter a little as I'm
Oh
going,
yeah, this we do.
and they talk about Babel.
Yeah.
There's something very interesting. They're talking about Babel while they're digging downwards instead of
Yeah,
upwards,
that's
right?
funny. They're not.
Uh,
It's like reverse,
yeah,
inverse. They're not going up to God. They're going into the earth.
yeah, and it's like God still gets mad at them, but it's like on the other way
Yeah.
around, where in Babel people want to reach the divine, want to get a better understanding of life or
Mhm.
whatever. The digging hole is just kind of like the opposite. It's kind of like a retraction from like a higher purpose. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Maybe like
Okay.
I'm just spitballing a little bit here. But like
Mm,
maybe it's kind of like in reverse of chasing the heavens and like a greater purpose like you said, it's instead of like the introspection that we already have on earth and being able to like go deeper into yourself and others. Maybe that's kind of what it's working at right now.
mm.
Um I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like in this, how do you say? It connects with the first chapter and what it's saying about like retracting yourself from other people, just kind of like being in your own little space for the rest of your life,
Mm,
with Shishima's closet and her like getting out of
yeah.
there. Um, I think it's a little bit of an expansion on that and how harming can be to like retract from others and from like your reality that surrounds you.
Okay.
It's like a very early into the arc, and we still don't have like a lot of fresh concepts from it. So it's gonna take us a while to get like a good grasp on the whole digging club
Yeah. Give us
as a
time.
whole. I love using whole and whole in the same sentence. It's if you're gonna get annoyed by it, you're gonna have to skip through like this entire section because I'm gonna do this every
Yep.
episode.
We love whole.
We love
That's
whole.
just
The whole club
the
loves
whole
whole.
club loves whole. We're gonna be insufferable. We already are. Um,
Yeah,
we
we
already.
already are. So you're gonna get a pretty good idea of how annoying we're gonna get
Yeah.
about this.
Yeah. It's gonna be great for us.
And yeah, it's gonna be great for everyone
Yeah.
involved.
Um. Yeah.
Eh,
Art wise, there's a lot of really cool little scenes. I actually really like the part, the backgrounds in page page 4 on chapter 11 was that got that one girl playing trumpet and stuff. It's got some nice depth to it.
Hmm.
I like the amount of people whenever they're going to all the quirky different people, they're all standing in front of the panels. That's really cute. Um,
Yeah, it's like it does give the perspective of them like interviewing the other person. You know, like a newspaper club or
yeah,
something where they're just like it's good. It does give like a little bit of charm uh to the whole
yeah,
interviewing aspect. I
yeah.
really like
And
it.
that last, yeah, the last page of chapter 11 on that Bowden panel. It's just it's like a good like this is our little hole digging club. This is our little area kind of like pullback. It's nice.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like I like it especially after essentially going with them along for a little ride through the whole school. They go into the literary
Mhm.
club. They go to the gym class. They go to the music club. To the literary club. I already said to the kitchen. They go like all around the place asking people, and then they go back to their place. You know,
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
their little spot.
they do have a place after all,
Yeah, digging holes.
and digging holes. Yeah, the backgrounds in general in Taking Miss are
Oh,
like crazy good, especially when it comes to like mega
yeah.
structures.
I was
But even without
Yeah, a
that,
lot of like the pulled in like how do you say um like profiles and stuff like that are definitely like the, TK Miz knows when to not do a background. And I mean like a lot of that
mm,
is they're drawing a fucking manga and it's a lot of work, but like you know,
yeah.
like we've all been there.
I mean, not really. I haven't particularly been there,
um
but
but they know when it's important to apply a good background, and
mm,
I always appreciate that. Um,
honestly, as a person who does read a bunch of shit, it's very like you don't have to always draw a background or whatever, but it's very noticeable the kind of artist who will just scrape by and never draw a background and just like do clear backgrounds with nothing behind them except like one or two
yeah.
lights. And the kind of artist who like actually goes and is like, okay, this scene needs like a little bit more of a background
Mm,
beyond like the first thing that was introduced. Like
yeah.
when to add them, how to add them. It's something that Itake Miss has like a very good
Hmm.
balance. For the most part, there's like a lot of them.
Yeah.
I won't lie.
Yeah. I think yeah, it's great. Chapter
It's pretty
chapter
good.
12 is concerned. We got a good old smushed egg on page 8. That's fucking great. I love that shit. Um,
Oh
this just got our
yeah,
little moment.
uh, we've all been
Yeah.
there. Little
Yeah.
melting.
And the paneling on the last page is I like it. I always like I'm a big fan. I always try to use like an extra tall panel. Like I love a
Mm.
good extra tall panel. It it's just fun. And it's like
Yeah.
it's really
Yeah,
good
yeah,
to be
yeah.
like her in her bed and then it goes into her little dream. That's really fun. I really like it. That's my little art notes.
I do love it. It's like yeah, 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 like hair falling into the dream and the dream falling into the
Yeah.
hole kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like a very good transition in the same panel. Like it's
It's
very
good.
good.
It's good stuff.
She is pretty good at
God.
this.
Kim is. You're like good at art or some shit. I can't
Yeah.
believe.
It's like I don't I don't know. Like she's been doing this for a little while,
I
hasn't
think
she?
so. Oh, okay.
They.
Um,
Oh my god.
sounds like they went to like art school or some shit. Anyway,
Did they?
didn't they? I think isn't the rumor that they were going to be like an art teacher? They were going to. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, it makes. I think you probably mentioned it, and it makes a lot of sense in the context of the series and how much it delves into art
Yeah,
and
yeah. They.
opinions on
I think
different
they
types of
very
art.
clearly have like at least like very good art history and stuff like that with the stuff that they reference and whatnot. So it just makes sense. Anyway, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. There's a. But yeah, there are two very good chapters to start off. Also, like up to this point, it's not very clear what sort of figure the gardener is yet.
Oh yeah.
Like we like there is like a sense of like what they are meant to represent a little, but here it's like a more poignant like, hey, this is this is your god figure, okay? This is who you're working with.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Um, yeah, it's very funny that the
Um,
gardener is just the god in that dream, and it's funny. I don't think has Majime encountered the gardener as far as we know
yeah,
IRL.
I don't know.
We forgot. It's been too long.
Yeah, I don't think so. No, no, because the couple chapters she showed up in
It
was like
was
she showed
Shijima
up
skipping.
when Shishima was
Yeah.
lost. Yeah, when she was skipping class, and then she showed up again in the background of the post dream sequence
Oh yeah.
in chapter 10. Like in the background, but like
Yeah.
she is there. She knows of
Yeah.
Mashime at least.
How could you not? Um.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but overall, pretty good chapters. What can
Pretty
I
good
say? I feel like
chapters.
I've run my mouth a lot on this chapter already.
Oh, these are some good ones to get back in. It's good that we take a break right at the beginning of a new volume. It like
Yeah,
worked out perfectly for us.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Something I feel like I want to. It's probably like looking a little too much into it, but okay, let's not. There's no such
Yeah.
thing. We're
We're a pretentious ass
gonna go
podcast. You
crazy.
can.
Yeah, we're pretentious assholes. We're gonna go on forever and ever and ever. So, what was it? What was I getting at? Oh yeah, that part when Majima is talking about like new languages and that kind of
Mm,
thing. Um, the thing she's actually referencing is just like animal language rather than human language. She's not even like thinking of like a mix of French and German or something like that. She's just like listing like insects and their pheromones, lights on the insects that glows,
yeah, it's very.
uh, bird song. So it kind of feels like we've seen it already with Majima feeling like excluded from the rest of the cast
Mm-hmm.
already. Especially like Shishima is like a hard thing. Like it's like hard because Shishima is a character we get a lot of in-depth look at, so we actually sympathize and understand her and all of that. And so does Mashime, of course, but you see it from her perspective, and she's just like trying so hard to connect with people and talk to them and whatever, and she just feels like she's just getting pushed away constantly. Especially with
Mm,
Shishima, even though they're like friends now, it still feels like there's like a lot of pushback,
yeah.
at least for her. So it makes sense that she's like, I don't know, feeling like a little uh excluded from the human experience, to put it some way,
Yeah.
right? Like referencing like she feels like she can't talk in Japanese or something, and she's like, well, we should start greeting each other by dancing. But she's also like, she has like already a very hard time with like non-verbal language, like for example, like the art thing that we were showing earlier, but also like Shishima saying that she's going to the toilet and doing like a T to like tell her instead of just saying it
Yeah.
out loud, and she's like already pretty confused. And so it's like she's just starting at a point where like I don't know, she's gonna figure it out eventually. I believe
She'll
in
make
her.
it.
She'll make it. We've all been there, girl. You gotta hold on and push
Yeah.
through. And it's like he makes a pretty good point that the conflict in like the story of the Tower of Babel. Is the pronunciation in
I have
English
no
Babel?
idea.
I kind of like if it is because it's like
Yeah.
babbling. Maybe
I
that's
I
where it came
assume so.
from.
That's kind of what I think the root might be, but uh I ain't good at pronouncing things. So,
It
yeah.
is what it is. I've never heard the word in English, so you're my
Oh god.
shining guiding
I
light
should never
here.
be.
Like kind of the problem with Babel is that everyone had a singular language that we're already sharing. So even for human, like already like people was like the it would be like a disaster even worse than like here it says it'll be even worse than Babel because it's like people are already very separated and unable to understand each other in the current
Yeah.
context, right? So it's just like a complete separation from everyone, kind of what she's like pointing at. Like in an attempt to connect with others, she's just imagining a future that would be like completely apart from other people.
Yeah.
It's interesting. She's still figuring it out. I know she'll make it.
She'll make it. It's rough being a high schooler. Shout out to high
Yeah,
schoolers.
I mean, if you're in high, I don't. Oh my
Oh,
god, if
weird.
is there the idea that a high schooler is following us is a little scary. Stay safe.
You'll make it.
What can I say? You'll make it. But yeah, you'll make it. I believe in you. Uh, so
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh.
I don't know.
Chapter 11 and 12,
Just gotta,
everybody. Volume 2.
yeah.
I guess it's 1 and 2 of Volume 2. That makes it kind of confusing, eh? Um,
Hmm. Choo choo.
2.
I feel that's pretty clear.
Okay, well,
Not very
yeah.
confusing on me.
Fucking, where's that INF? What is it? I've already calculated. Yeah, what?
MTF.
I don't.
Inf.
Yeah, that thing.
I.
It's the Myers Briggs shit that I don't care about. But he's like, I've already
Oh, INTJ, right?
calculated the taste of those potato crisps
Yeah.
or whatever. That's Maria.
Yeah. 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 That's me, alright.
Let's get into. Oh,
Oh, INTJ. There we go.
you got it.
Let's get into the
Let's
the
get into
questions. Oh
questions. Do you
yeah,
want to
I've
read
been
or do you
looking
want me to
forward to it
read?
the whole episode. I'll read
Oh,
them. I'll
okay.
read them. I'll go
Wow.
for it. I mean, there's two. We can just read one on one. Okay. I'm gonna go with green. First of all, hi.
Oh, okay. Wait. Okay.
Hope you're having
Yeah.
fun. I hope you're having a good time. Hi. No super thoughtful analysis from Graham
That's
this
good.
week. I just want to say I think it's really lovely how the weirdness of the world is presented so matter-of-factly in this manga. The showcase of all the students' work was really charming, and it struck me how celebratory it was, of everybody's differences, rather than it being used to illustrate how complicated and unknowable other people are or whatever. Taking Mist's optimism towards the human condition really beats through in the work, and it's kind of infectious, and I can't get enough of it. P.S. My favorite sea beast is the noble sea slug, but I can pick a specific type, so my homework for you is to look at images of sea slugs and pick a favorite
Oh,
species.
I do love a
Alright.
good sea slug. Um,
There are so many
there's
beautiful species.
sea slugs are great.
So,
I remember since I grew up here in the Pacific Northwest of the United States of America. We got to do like science trips out to like the fucking Puget Sound and shit, and we got to see like sea slugs and stuff, and I thought that was so dope as a kid, and it's because they are. Thumbs
Yeah,
up.
it's ironic. Ironically, that's
Yeah.
incredibly cool.
Um.
What's the sea slug that looks like prosciutto? I love that one.
I don't know what it's called, but I know the one you're talking about. It does look like prosciutto. God, you could go for some prosciutto.
I could go for some prosciutto as
Oh.
well. I had some like fried plantains and they were
Oh
like
yeah.
great, but it's not prosciutto.
Well, it's hard to beat prosciutto.
It's like a
That's.
so about
Oh
the
yeah, the
ask.
ask.
Yeah, the ask is well. We were discussing
Yeah.
the ask.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, no
Yeah.
shame in it.
It is. It is really fun.
Um,
I think, Graham, you. I think we've agreed with you a little bit here. That's so fun. Cause like,
hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, the parts where it like stops in its tracks and it's like, hey, isn't this kind of weird? Haha. It's like, it's always pretty
yeah.
funny. It's always great. It's just like in the middle of this, it's just like, hey, what the fuck? That's what? People don't do that. That's weird.
People don't.
Like
People don't typically
this is
have.
where we're drawing
Yeah,
the
people
line.
don't typically have twin octopus. But yeah, no, it
Yeah.
is really it it is so fun. Like people always say that
Hmm.
like Girls Last Tour is kind of like the doomer one, whereas Shimeji Simulation is kind of like the optimism one from TK Miz. But both of them are just like kind of about how beautiful the human condition is, and I really that's my
Yeah,
favorite part about TK Miz. They do such a good job
they're
at it.
able they're able to grapple with like very heavy topics and by the end of it just go with like still pretty good all things
Yeah,
considered. You can have
yeah,
fun. At the end of uh I gotta say my first read it didn't get through to me all the way like uh with uh Girls Last
mm,
Tour. It's not that I didn't love it, it's just that some things kinda went
yeah,
over my head. But the end of the story, when they're like in the
yeah,
rooftop and she's like lamenting whatever and she's like mad at her because she loved the time they spent together and everything they went through and like it's a very powerful moment in general, but it's like God, it gets to me every time.
yeah. Um, yeah, and now,
So it's like even in like the
no,
sorry, I'll wrap it up real quick, but even like this moment of like complete despair, you're able like take a miss and by like the characters and by extension take a miss is able to look at it and just be like, yeah, things kind of are shitty and it's whatever, but like this life is worth living even if it's not ending in a good way.
yeah,
Like
the
even
journey really was that fun.
I don't know, the journey really was that
Yeah.
fun. It's all about they tell you it's all about the journey, and you're like, I just want to get there, and then you get there, and you're like, what about the journey? I slept through it,
Well, okay, maybe that's Marina's experience.
and you don't,
Unfortunate.
and you don't
I
want to
don't
do
know.
that. I'll tell you that much. You don't
Mhm,
want to do
mhm.
that.
Marina knows.
I know. I fall asleep on airplanes all the time. I mean, not all the time because I'm not going on
I was gonna
airplanes
be
all
like,
the
damn,
time. Like
Maria
every
has to
time.
fucking commute, I guess, for real. Shit.
Yeah, that's why I'm
Maria's
always late. I have to take the
Maria's
plane
the
back and forth.
Argentinian Taylor Swift. She's
Yeah,
always on that damn plane.
like um, but yeah. So enjoy the journey. Get
Yay.
I don't know. I'm not gonna ask a lot about the audience, but maybe get into like something new and start struggling.
Yeah. Let's
That's
all get into
that's
some
the
new
fun part.
hobbies and struggle. That's like my favorite. I, I know I'm saying this.
I kind of
What?
hated. I'm going to say I'm a big hypocrite and I kind of hate it, but at the same time, it really is about the
Yeah.
journey at the end of the day. Even if I um do a temper tantrum on the way through.
Yeah, it's okay. I can be
You were
discredited a
saying?
little bit because I'm the guy who grabs a new hobby every week, and I was like, "Yay, I'm struggling again." But no, it's genuinely so fun.
Hey,
it's fun to struggle. It's
that's
fun
why
to learn.
that's why we have two guys.
Yeah, there's two of us. Two of us on this beautiful podcast.
There's two. So yeah, so I can be the pessimist in this case, and you'll be the optimist. And next time around, you can be the pessimist, and I'll be the optimist.
I feel like. Well, we both definitely have our roles on this podcast. I'll say that much. I feel like we've settled into those. I don't think that's gonna change, but.
Okay.
Not that you're a pessimist.
Okay, never mind. I take that back.
You're not the pessimist of the podcast, but I feel like neither of us are the pessimist or the optimist. But I feel like if we're attributing two specific roles to either of us, I think we're not gonna be able to change our what are you gonna do? Start loving Shimeji's sister? Like what the fuck? Like I don't think that's happening. You know?
I'll never get along with someone's older sister, and that's a promise.
What? Yeah. Sure. Whatever.
Sorry.
Maria doesn't get along with me because I'm an older sister. Oh my god.
No, I said someone's older sister.
Oh,
You're not someone's older sister. You're
I think
my
you meant
buddy.
in general. That would have been funny though. Yeah, if you're an older sister,
Yeah.
fuck you. Maria cannot interact. Dia and I, older sisters.
Yeah, this is our last episode together. We just realized there's been a little bit of a miscommunication, and yep. I hope you have fun. Dissolve it.
Sorry, everybody, for quitting the podcast early.
See you around.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully that was a good answer. The next ask. Hello, Bulb Abandoned. You have a name other than that, I think, but I don't remember it. Oh, okay. Bulb Abandoned.
It's
Hi,
just
Bulb Abandoned. Let me read what you sent us. Very excited for the next episode. I wanted to ask about y'all's thoughts on Sumida. There's an explicit connection between her and the language communication theme in Chapter 12, but I also noticed she never uses other people's names. And I think that contrast is really interesting. I also think that it's really interesting how Sumida's mutism is presented as a seemingly voluntary choice. Magawa says Sumida simply isn't big on talking, and Sumida demonstrates that she can produce fluent speech in the last chapter of Volume 2. I think it's really cool that she just prefers not to communicate with spoken language, and everyone else just respects that. Regarding the homework, my favorite fish is the koala. I have always had trouble pronouncing this one. Koala. That one! You know!
cunt.
You know the one that I'm talking about! The fucking thing. I'm so sorry, Bulbaman.
Yeah, guy.
We know this guy. We know him. Anyway, then they read this.
Wait, it's pronounced coelacanth.
What?
What the fuck?
Oh god. Well, anyway.
Coelacanth. Okay.
That's kind of fun. They like seals, but not at all.
Yeah, it's because they're from the sea.
Yeah. The rest of the they were discovered as fossils in the early 1800s and are soon to be tens of millions of years extinct. And then people found that the species were actually still alive in 1938. Yeah, that's so fun. It's so fun. I love beauty of science. There's something funny and slightly spooky that they were discovered as fossils as old as the dinosaurs, as soon to be long extinct, and then 100 years later, people realize they're actually still living in the ocean. It is very funny. It's like a very funny thing.
It's kind of like if we hadn't imagine if sharks are a little bit more rare to see, and so not sharks because they have cartilage and that's difficult to fossilize, especially. But let's just talk about it. Sharks.
We're playing pretend.
They're old. They're old as fuck. We've seen I don't know. They were a zillion years old or something. And so people find the
teeth or whatever.
I don't know, fossils of sharks.
Shark teeth, which are everywhere.
And they're they're everywhere. So they're oh fuck, imagine the kind of thing this was. Yeah, that's some megafauna shit.
Yeah.
What the hell?
There's so many
I'm so glad that they're dead and we're here. Yeah, I'm so glad that they're there and we're here and we're here and they're there in bed. Um, and then you like go on a fucking swim and then you find a fucking
That
shark.
would be pretty
Like
crazy.
it's really it's really weird thinking about the evolution through the year, like through the
Yeah.
time as a whole. Same thing with like crocodiles, where they're like uh pretty old as far as like the concept of a
Mm-mm.
crocodile,
Yeah.
right? Um, and thinking about like what has endured and what hasn't is like really cool.
Yeah.
Which is like, you know, it's what draws people like children into like science, which is like there's just some cool as fuck guys that were like a million years ago, and some of them are still here. And some of them are just like cool
Yeah.
birds now. You can
You
hang
need
out
one or
with
the
them.
other. To the
Uh,
ask.
I was the ask. So the ask, right? First of all, your fish is a really cool
Yeah.
fish.
Big
I know
fan.
we were just like really talking about it. Like, big fan of the
Uh-huh.
selection.
We got people.
And they're also just like very beautiful
Yeah. We
animals.
got people with
I
good
remember
taste in our
that
ask box here.
yeah, something that I really loved about the fish itself is that the fossils we usually found, like before, like I read about it a little bit, that we saw the fossils and they were like very dark, brown, like what a dead fish
Yeah.
looks like. And we kind of had the impression for like a long time they were just like, I don't know, like we didn't really know what they looked like back then. And then just like live specimens and shit, and they're like so fucking beautiful.
Yeah. Oh.
And it's like, imagine like imagine the fucking like, I don't know what a dinosaur like looked like. I mean, it's like everyone's favorite
Yeah.
topic, right? What a dinosaur looked like. But like, imagine like how fucking pretty they were. Maybe they were like they had like a I don't know, like a peacock type of plumage or
That'd be
something.
fun.
That'd be fun. Yeah, I'll get to a couple guys in the science
Oh,
community
you
and
know a
tell
couple
them what
guys?
if they were.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know a couple guys. I'll get in
Okay. Okay.
contact. That's what a office lady is all about. Um, but yeah, right about the rest of your task. I'm so sorry. I love getting off topic.
It's our whole podcast. Yeah,
Sumida
Sumida.
is like a very good character. It's especially fun that she's introduced like right at the beginning of this arc about like communication and art and all
Yeah.
that shit. And her whole deal is that she communicates through art. Um, she's like a great character all around. Um, when we get to her deal with the teacher, we'll get to her deal, and I guess we'll have a conversation about it, which I'm not like particularly excited about, but we'll get there.
Oh,
Um,
you're not? You're not excited?
I'm excited. I don't know. We still haven't even discussed the Shimeji
Oh
simulation
God,
prequel.
yeah. No, I think that one's. I think that one's harder for me to discuss. This one, it I don't know. Well, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about. We'll get there.
We'll
We'll
get
get
to
to
it.
it.
We'll cross that bridge when we get to it, or whatever the saying is. Um, and yeah, she's like a very fun character in general. She's isn't big on talking. It's something that's fun about the series is that everyone is like a little different. The characters that exist in the story and they're like relevant, they all have like very different outlooks on, well, most anything, like perspective on relationships, on art, science, general ideas of even like how to organize knowledge and how to value it, uh, are like points of contention for some of these
Mm.
characters. Um, so it's like, it's something that the series really likes is how different everyone is and how fun it is that we all have our differences. And it's like what I was saying about taking Miss, that she does like kind of complex ideas and just like not dumps them down, but simplifies them enough that they're digestible and good for a more general audience to process without losing the complexity necessarily.
Mm.
And at the same time, it's able to talk about certain topics that feel like a little cliche and add their imprint on, like, their take
Yeah.
on it in a way that makes them feel like fleshed out instead of just like someone else just going at it. So it's like, I don't know, something I really like with Sumida and the rest of the whole Digging Club is that they're all very different and very weird, and they're all having fun together.
And they're all having fun together.
Well, and nothing bad happens.
uh,
That's right. The thing about her not using other people's names, though, it's like, it's interesting. Just like a lot of build up about names as a whole in the series. Well, uh, Graham's pointed it out, like a couple asks, in how like names are a part of this series that is like relevant throughout most of the manga, which is
mm.
true, and it's like it's building up on it. Which characters talk about talk to others, how they talk to them, and yes, the Sumida. I think it adds more to her eccentric nature and her particular way of communicating
Mm.
that she doesn't use names for
Yeah.
people. I don't know if there's like a more deep look into why she doesn't use people names other than she's like someone who has a more particular way of communicating in
Yeah.
general.
I think it would be interesting since neither of us speak Japanese. Like I know there's like with how you refer to people, there's definitely different rules and stuff like that. So I would want to know how, like, does it factor in some way? But also, it's like it's on the other side of things of like how, like, I interact with the world. Um, like it is interesting to try to. Well, first of all, I'm a person who says people's names a lot, especially in sentences. It is also part of just how I speak to people. I just use their names a lot, so it's interesting to see, like, oh, yeah,
That's right.
I love saying people's names. And then also like going into like,
Hey,
what?
yeah, no, I mean like they're there for
Yeah,
something. I
yeah,
like it.
I love saying people's names. I say them all the time. Um, I wear them out, like they tell you not to. But also having
I don't know. I don't know why they would say that. Frankly, you gotta, especially like you pick out your
yeah.
name, right? You pick out your name, you're like, oh fuck, I can't wait for people to use the name, and then they don't even use it at all. They're just like, hey, you come over. You're like, I got a
Yeah.
name, you know? What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. Good
Sorry, the
point.
Sopranos got it to me.
Thank you. Um uh and also like I've written characters with like who deliberately avoid names or deliberately avoid referring to themselves or whatever. It's like not like written. I'm not a writer, but you know, like every so often I make a little comic or like a character concept and I'll try to play with it. And doing that stuff, you definitely it's part of it is definitely deliberate, especially if you do not talk in that way. So like her contrast with that with the other characters, like Shijima's name gets said a lot, and I noticed that mostly because I always have to like make sure like I'm saying the right names. So like I usually check before each time we do this podcast like all the names that are mentioned in the chapters, and I write them down on a little notepad. On my computer. And so like Manjiman's names get said probably the least out of everybody's, but Shijima gets said a lot, and then supporting characters are kind of like all over the place. So it's interesting to see. I guess I think it would be interesting to I I would like to um I'm gonna pay attention to that because I didn't really. I guess I've never really noticed how little she says names. So it's interesting that it's a deliberate choice and that's like something. At least in this
Hmm.
chapter. I don't know. Yeah. Oh, it is just in general. I think Bulb Abandon said, but um, Yeah, that's interesting.
I'm here throwing this out. Like it's an idea. Maybe by like the end of chapter like 19 and 20, we can do like a little read over the first and second volume, like all
Oh yeah.
all over again, and we can like rehash a couple of things that have been said before, especially like the names, which has been mentioned by people following us, like that it's like a relevant theme that keeps like
Oh
repeating.
yeah.
So we could like go over a little bit more in depth by the time we
Yeah.
get there.
I mean, yeah, we'll figure something out. But yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like chapter 9 and 10 we had like I mean, it was a fun episode to make for sure.
Yeah, we had a little too much fun. Um, yeah, thank you for the ask. Yeah, we've pretty much covered everything, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like we did a pretty thorough look at this two chapters for them being the first two in the
Yeah,
volume.
and our little break. Thank you everybody
And our little break.
for sending in asks. We are excited to read more next time, whenever next time is. Yeah.
It probably won't be like as distant as this one has been, but
I mean, it was like,
I mean, it's
our
our
life.
lives. I don't want to be I don't want to be mean to the audience, but they're not paying us, so we had a little schedule problem.
If they paid us.
We're not really we're not really getting our paycheck cut from this. So
well, we getting the what is it, $5 TK Miz gives us?
Yeah, like she's still gonna give it to us. Just like I keep hurrying taking this.
It's
you know what?
literally fine.
I'm just gonna go here. I'm gonna take a stance, and I'm gonna go and her take a miss for the rest of the podcast.
Yep.
I am done trying to be neutral.
We're we're putting our foot down. We're assigning you a fucking gender. TK Miz.
Yeah. I mean, she's been our colleague for a little while. I feel like I'm close enough to her to.
She hasn't objected before.
She hasn't taken miss with any pronouns on their bio. Sorry, the image like got blasted directly to my head, and it just had to.
We're gonna end up. This is like, yeah. It always reminds me of the fucking Namori debates of years past. There's that bit in what's that fucking series called? Himadanshi, that series about the Himadanshi, and there's that bit where they're doing like a Yuri off challenge quiz thing, and they're like, "What gender is Namori?" And then they're like, "A jellyfish," because that's the little character, and it's been a bit for forever. That always reminds me of that old debate of they're just a jellyfish or whatever.
Yeah, it's just like that. Essentially, this is our struggle.
Yeah.
Anyways,
so that was what is our homework for next week? I mean, we've been given homework to pick a favorite species, but you already picked one. I didn't. I'll get back to you on that, Graham. I promise.
Yeah. Well, okay. I already said my word. I want the prosciutto. I want to have a little snack on it.
But what's?
I'm just gonna put it in the middle of the sandwich.
I don't know if they taste good. Well, I guess yeah. I think. Wait, have I had not sea slug? I haven't had sea slug before. I've had the other one.
I wonder. Toxic, offensive taste.
Yeah, do they have it?
Okay, I don't know. I could probably do a decent sea slug. I don't believe Wikipedia.
Fuck Wikipedia.
Yeah, I'm a sea slug truther. Yeah, what do they know? Who the fuck do they think they are? Let me see. Let me think. What could we ask our audience? It's been a while.
Yeah, would we have any, Oh yeah, and I would like to say, like, if you don't want to, like, have anything, I don't know, if you're like, wow, I don't have anything intelligent to say, but I do want to answer the question, please just send in and answering the question.
Oh,
I wanted to
absolutely.
open
It
up.
is so fun to
Yeah,
ask.
we love getting just the homework is for everyone. They're for you.
Yeah.
We're pointing directly at you.
You can just say, you're so talented and good, and I don't have anything to say about the episode, but I like you so much.
And here's my homework response.
And also here's my
Yeah.
homework. If you're not gonna say anything about the episode, at least tell us that we're doing good.
Or that we suck. It would be funny if we got some that were like, you suck. Anyway, here's your homework. That would be good.
Yeah, I don't like your analysis, and I don't like you. Here. I
I don't know.
thinking maybe we could ask people if they've been starting a new project, or if they've been
have you started a new project?
Getting into something new.
What's new in your life? What's new in your life? Let us know. We'd like to know. It's always fun.
Here in Shimeji Dissertation, we care about your day.
We care about what's going on. So let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's kind of our homework.
Yeah. Tell us what to do in your
You're
life.
doing a little project, or you're starting something new.
Yeah.
It's a day of beginnings. We're back in the business.
Oh. Wow, we've got like a cohesive theme or some shit going on. Watch out, world. Shit.
Yeah. Your podcast is way better. It has like a way more thematic element than yours does, okay? So if there's any Take It Miss podcasts out there that wants to fuck with us, just know there are themes during the episodes are way deeper than yours. Okay, we have like a coherent
we have a thorough
narrative going on here.
But also, if you have your own Shimeji podcast, send us a link because that would be fun.
Yeah, we actually.
Oh my god,
that would be so fun to check out.
Fun.
We do a little crossover episode.
Yeah, that would be good. It would be really embarrassing if they're like I don't know. Well, anyway,
if they don't like us.
if they're like high level literature people, and then like us two chuckle fucks come up and like, let's do a collab. That would be funny.
Yeah. Maybe they need a little human to let them love.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I sure do know.
That's right.
Anyway.
Okay. And so with this, I think we're done for the episode. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed. Ring the bell. Subscribe to our Patreon. We're gonna need like a Take a Miss is cutting our budget again because of the
pronouns
of the hiatus and the pronouns situation. So any bit helps.
We don't.
You don't actually have Patreon. Don't bother.
We're not making a Patreon.
But hey, if you want to send me money, my DMs are open.
Send money to Maria.
Yeah, I need the money. I could use some.
There you go.
Some snacks.
You never know. Anyway, have a wonderful week, everyone. We'll see you again soon.
Yeah. Eventually.
XOXO Gossip Girl. And I'm ending it on that. Bye.
Bye-bye.